Welcome to Kababayan LA's Year-Ender or Year 2012 in Review, Part 1, talking about news stories, newsmakers. We have a Part 2 that will be talking about entertainment and Hollywood and Philippine show business. Stick around for that as well. But for now, I pose this question at the top of the program. 2012, was it a good year or a bad year? And in reviewing some of the stories that we've been talking about, I get the feeling that it's a good year, right? I would say, Ronnie, it's a good year for you. You got to travel.
Yes.
Your most memorable, one of your most memorable coverages this year.
Yes, I was fortunate enough to be invited along with reporters from Mexico, Brazil, and the rest of the United States. The only Filipino who was, we were two of that group. We were invited to go to Thailand and Malaysia. And it was memorable for me because of the fact that Malaysia, I remember during, when I was young, Malaysia, we did not even bother thinking about Malaysia, but now it's one of the most progressive countries in the whole world. The best infrastructure, one of the best infrastructure in the whole world, and I got to experience that. So I was able to compare where the Philippines is now compared to our neighboring country, Malaysia, which, we did not even bother to think about before. So I got that perspective of comparing the two, and hopefully we'll get to that point where we can, be better. Like we mentioned earlier, the Philippines posted 7.1% growth, better than Malaysia. But of course, as far as everything economically speaking is concerned, so we're still very, very far behind compared to our Southeast Asian countries.
It's a process, however, and I remember you mentioned Thailand. I remember when I was there in Bangkok in 1998 when I covered the Asian Games, Thai baht was 1 to 1 peso.
Right.
Ngayon, medyo naiwanan na rin
Speaking
tayo.
of foreign exchange, 3 ringgit is $1 compared that to 40 Philippine pesos compared to $1. So that's how progressive that country is. And we were invited, and fortunately for me, because of how I treated them, because they're practically our ancestors. Malaysians are our ancestors.
Yeah, Malay.
Yes, of course. So and you'll see the country is employing a lot of Filipinos there. And hopefully, by the time that we can be as progressive as they are, we will also be employing them. Hopefully we can, reciprocate the process.
Hopefully, a few years from now, we'll be talking about your most memorable coverage, and it will be that the Philippines is doing so well and all that. Although we talked about that top news story for you was, GDP growth and economically steady, politically steady in the Philippines. What is your most memorable coverage?
Oh, and I also have to mention the peace agreement.
Right.
Oh, yes.
MILF. That is a big step.
Tomorrow Islamic Liberation Front. Yes.
Right. What about you, Nympha? You've covered so much, and I know you're very hardworking. You're always out there doing investigative stuff. What is your most memorable coverage?
Well, you mentioned the DREAM Act.
Yes.
And it's been a long struggle. It hasn't been passed yet, and we don't know when it's going to be passed. So there was a case involving a Filipino-American. He was already at the airport. He was going to be deported. And because of the empowered Filipino-American community, they launched a media campaign. Jose Brojo. Do you remember? Jose Brojo. Yes, he was at the airport.
You were there?
No. But I was in touch with him. I was on the phone, and it was great. This is a great story. So they stopped the deportation, and a senator, the Senate Majority Leader, I believe, Senator Durbin, he intervened, and he presented his case on the Senate floor.
Wow.
And the reason why it's memorable was because he used my story as part of the exhibit on the Senate floor. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy. And it shows us that the media has a big part in the community. We can do something to help our kababayan.
And I knew I did not make a mistake when I invited all these people here on the show because, well, Nymph, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And, it's also a good story because it's a story of struggle. And it's an immigrant story, and each one of us has an immigrant story.
Correct.
And when you talk about being empowered, I think the best display of being empowered in Hollywood was your memorable coverage.
It really was, yes. Baku, I had the opportunity to be one of the media sponsors for the event that Apple curated at the Hollywood Bowl, which is Apple Takes You to the Philippines. And it was just a fantastic event altogether. over 12,000 Filipinos in one venue. And, you know, Apple brought along, you know, everybody from Vanessa Hudgens,
Nicole Scherzinger,
Nicole Scherzinger, obviously,
Joe
you know, Black
Coy.
Eyed Peas were there,
Yeah.
Joe Coy,
Yeah.
Lou Diamond Phillips, Ogie Alcacid, Martin Rivera. It just went on and on. And just seeing that, you know, our community having that kind of a platform to be able to show our talents, it's huge. I mean,
Yes.
not just them, but
Yeah.
it's you know, the spectators made that event even more livelier than it would have been.
And there were non-Filipinos in the audience
Oh,
who
yeah.
enjoyed it. I
Absolutely.
felt so
Definitely.
proud. You know, I got goosebumps, first of all, hearing Ogie Alcacid sing Tagalog at the Hollywood Bowl,
Yes.
no less.
That's
and then
huge.
it was filled to the rafters. In fact, they were having some uncertainties and doubts because days before they were still struggling to sell tickets, Ronnie.
Yes, and you mentioned Apple Diab. Actually, he was one of the presidential awardees this year by
right.
President Noynoy Aquino.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Apple Diab is doing great
Congratulations
things,
to him.
yes, for the Philippines, and that is why looking forward to 2013, he's one of the people I think that we should look out for,
Absolutely.
Yes.
doing so much for our country and for our Kababayans. When we return, let's talk about that. Looking forward, 2013, there's the immigration story to still think about, perhaps, you know, peace agreement, MILF, and, you know, how long will it take, Sprat-Lease, perhaps, people that are still making news and will be making news in 2013. We'll break it down for you. Don't go away.